Okay, welcome. This is a different bookshelf. My other ones are filled. And besides these two they're like little ceramic rainbow thingies, and I painted them. I don't know that I like how I painted them, but this is the decor we got going. Besides those little spots, this bookshelf is completely filled as well now, with all the books that I have not read. So that's fabulous. So, literally, I have not read any of these books. Any of them. And I just keep buying more. And it's been great. But now I have a separate shelf for my TBR, which is, it can be good and bad. Honestly, truly. But this video is going to be a wrap up for the month of April. I read a lot off my physical TBR for April, and then I read a lot of library books and one or two Audible books. So let's just get into that, I guess. Okay, the first few books you guys have already seen if you have watched this video. You already know some of the first few books that I have read, because I did like a finishing this some series that I've started, and so the first few are Two Distant Crowns by Rachel Gillig, and I rated this one 4.5 stars, and it is the last book in this duology, and you guys have already kind of heard my thoughts on this, so I will just leave it at that. And then I read Battle of the Labyrinth by Rick Riordan, and I gave this one 4 stars. That same video has my thoughts on that, so I won't say anything much about it other than I liked it. And wasn't my favorite of the whole series, but I really did like it. And then I read In the Weeds by B.K. Borison, and I gave this one 4.5 stars. Loved it. I love our main characters in this book. And if you want more on that, I have already said lots of thoughts in that same video. And then the last one I read for that video earlier this month was Foxglove. I love this book. Honestly, it was a 5-star read, and it's going on my 6-star read list because that's how much I loved it, and I'm so excited for Wisteria to come out. I talked a lot about this one on that video that I did, so I won't say anything really else about this other than just you need to read it. Then I read Sapphire Blue from the library. I gave this one 3 stars. It's the second book in, I don't know what the series is called. The author is German, and so I don't really know how to say her last name, but by Kirsten. Like time travel. The first book is Ruby Red, and I read that, I think, in March, possibly. And this one just didn't hit as good for me as the first one did. I feel like from the start to the end of the book, nothing got accomplished. It was just their main character having the same fights with the same people over and over again, and I feel like nothing got accomplished or changed. And so yeah, it kind of put me in a funk to be finishing the series, because it is a trilogy. I am halfway through the last book, but it took me a long time to want to read the last book after reading Sapphire Blue. So yeah, not my favorite, but it was fine. Like, it was a 3-star, so it was not bad. But yeah, just not a lot that happened to progress the story, I guess. At least that I can remember. And then I finished off the Percy Jackson series with The Last Olympian. Rated it 4.5 stars. So good. I totally forgot the ending of how they defeated the big bad guy. And so that was kind of cool to get to reread that, and like just basically it felt like I was reading it for the first time because I had forgotten so much of the ending of that. But it was a sad book. It was a lot of because they're fighting the whole time. It was a lot of death. A lot of the campers don't make it, and it's really sad. I did like it as a whole. For the series, I would give that probably, it's a 5-star. It's nostalgic. It's kind of fun. It's a kid's book, but it's also like there's a lot going on and a lot of just different themes that it deals with, and so it was just so good. Then I read Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. I met her last month. I think, at an author event, and so she signed my copy of Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled, and I love that my sticky note is still in there so she knows how to spell my name. But I love this book. I gave it 5 stars. It was so good. I loved Emmy. I love Luke. Oh my gosh. I love that it deals with PTSD from her accident that she has to come home for, and I love that they are kind of like, they didn't like each other in childhood, but now that they're grown up, they kind of see each other in a different light, and it was just so good. I love all the brothers. I love the dad. I want to live here in this book, in Rebel Blue Ranch, in their little town. I want to go to the places that are mentioned in this book, and just, I want this to be a real place so badly, and I'm like vibrating. This also is going on my 6-star list for this year because it was that good. So good. Also, I liked that the, in romances, a lot of the time it's like the 3rd act breakup, where it's like you're this far into the book, and then they have to have some sort of conflict, because that's how books work, and they always make it a breakup. This one did not do that. It made it something else, and I think that Miss Lila Sage handled it so well. I think that the conflict in this made sense, and a 3rd act breakup would not have made sense. And then it resolves pretty quickly, and we can just get our happy ending, and it was just so good. Please read this book. Please read this series. Love. And then I read Coraline, and I gave this book a 3.5 star. It was short, quick. I think I read it in like a day. Just like took a day after work and just read it. I think I read it at the park, so that was fun. I would say the movie follows the book version very well. So a lot of the time it was very easy to picture what was going on because of the movie and me having grown up watching that. But I would also say that it is creepier than the movie because just the way that Mr. Neil Gaiman describes things and like makes the other world, the description of the other world that he brings us is just so off-putting, but like in a good way, because it's supposed to be that way. I think that it is definitely, on the back it says for ages 8 and up. It is definitely not for ages 8 and up. I can't imagine reading this as an 8-year-old and being okay. Like, I would say like maybe 10 at the earliest, and even then it's like nightmares. Nightmare fuel. But yeah, so I would say wait till you're a little bit older to read this if you are young watching this video. And it was really good. Watch the movie before or after, because they did a great job with that. And then I read the second book in Rebel Blue Ranch by Lila Sage. It's Swift and Saddled, and this one is about Wes and Ada. And first of all, love Wes. Homeboy. Love him. He's so great. So Wes deals with depression. The way that Lila Sage writes Wes shows that you can be a functioning adult person, whatever, even if you're not an adult yet. You can be a functioning person that deals with depression, and you can have a life full of wonderful things. Just the way that he talks about having to deal with that is great, and I love that that gets addressed in this book. And also Ada, I don't know that it ever says that she is diagnosed with anything, but you can definitely tell she has like something going on, because she just overthinks things constantly. I wouldn't be surprised if she had like anxiety or anything like that. Yeah, because Homegirl, I related to Homegirl so much. But I definitely in my head feel the same way that she feels a lot of the time. So it was kind of fun to relate to her in a lot of things. I also loved the ending of this. Again, the 3rd act conflict doesn't have to be a breakup. Because I think, so at Lila Sage's event that I went to last month, or in March, whenever I went to that, she didn't call it she didn't call it her having a mental breakdown. She called it an Ada breakdown, because she totally just overthinks, like she does, overthinks, freaks out, and just has to deal with some things, and then they get their happily ever after, which is so great. And honestly, loved it. I gave it 5 stars. Again, 6-star. This is probably my favorite book this month that I read. Also, November cannot come soon enough for the next book, because the next book, oh, it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. I love these books. And then I read The Antique Hunter's Guide to Murder by C.L. Miller, and I liked this one. I gave it 4.5 stars. So I'll just kind of give you a little synopsis. So it's about this girl who she used to be an antique dealer. She worked for a guy who was an antique dealer from the ages of 16 till she was, I think, about 20, 21. And then something happens and she doesn't talk to that man ever again. And he's like an old guy. He was more like a grandpa figure to her because her parents died. She was an orphan at a very young age. Lived with her aunt, who was best friends with this old man that she worked for. And then she is now an adult. She has her own child who is like graduated off to college. And she gets a call from her aunt saying that, I don't even know what his name is, saying that Arthur, the old man, has passed away. And the aunt thinks that something suspicious has been going on because things in his antique shop are not how they used to be. And he supposedly had a heart attack and fell down the stairs. The aunt does not think he had a heart attack. She thinks that somebody murdered him, basically. And so she calls the niece, our main character, and has her come and like deal with the funeral. She's actually written into the will, and so they have to be at the reading, the will reading that happens, and they find out that they both have gained all this money, and his house, his shop, all these things is just basically split between our main character and her aunt. They go on this journey. They have to meet all these people who are kind of suspicious characters. You meet his assistant in the shop and these other people that he did business with, and you kind of you're following these characters while they're trying to figure out if he was murdered and who did it, if like it did happen. It was good. It felt like an Agatha Christie book, honestly, and I loved that. It was really good. I liked it. I think the main character, she was like, she wasn't lovable, which that's such a kind of a terrible thing to say, but like, I didn't love her, but I liked her enough that the story was interesting and I wanted to know what happened next. I listened to Listen for the Lie. I don't remember who it's by, but it'll say on this little image right here. And I rated it 3.5 stars. It was good. It was about a girl who everyone thinks that she is the person that murdered her best friend. And it's been 5 years since that happened. She has moved out of Texas because it takes place in Texas. She moves out of Texas, goes to LA. But then a guy is doing a podcast about it and brings it all up again. So her boyfriend breaks up with her because he finds out that most everyone thinks that she murdered somebody. And she gets fired from her job. She, like, all these things. She cannot remember the night of the murder because she had a big head wound and it messed with a lot of her memories because of the brain damage and all that fun stuff that happens when you get hit in the head really hard. And her grandma calls her and says that she wants her to come back for her birthday party, the grandma's birthday party. And her grandma is the only one that she actually talks to for the past couple years. So she agrees to come back to please her grandma because, again, it's her only family member that she talks to, that she's still in good terms with. And so she goes back to Texas, and lo and behold, the podcaster guy is there, and they meet, and he wants her to start remembering, so he's trying to like take her to these places. He wants her to listen to other people's interviews that he puts on the podcast, and slowly she does start remembering. And so the whole time she's wondering, and you're wondering as the reader, and everyone in the town is wondering if she actually did it and why she did it, because it was her best friend. And it was wild. It was a wild ride. I did not guess the ending. It was crazy. I loved it. I say I loved it and then I give it a 3.5 star. It was good. It was just, I'm very picky with books that are about that. And so the fact that I gave this one a 4 and that one a 3.5, very, it's only, I go with a vibe. I don't know. I go with a feeling, and if that feeling's not there, then I have to rate it lower. I'm really picky with like thriller, mystery, murder type of books. It was a pretty good reading month. My average star was like half a star higher than what it has been for the past 3 months. So that was great. Okay, well, those are all my books that I read for this month, and I will see you guys in another video, hopefully soon. Yeah. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye!